And then I said it, and I was like, wouldn't it be ridiculous for me with my energy to say something like that? And he got super offended. He was super mad. Yeah. He didn't say anything to me, but in the recording, I could hear him like, what the fuck, man?
Well, I wonder if it's like a cultural.
It's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
But I did also say, if I did Johnny's jokes without the accent, I'd probably be on a watch list. So maybe that was the line he didn't like. But it's true. It's true. We were analyzing Johnny's jokes and I was like, well, if he didn't have that fucking accent, like we'd be like, this guy's a fucking pervert.
Yeah, dude, he is hilarious though too. We were talking to him one day after one of the mics or whatever, and he was like explaining how he got to America, and it was literally just like he was like, I was at the bar and I see the American girl, and I started dancing with her, and it's like, and he's just that guy. Dude.
Yeah,
he's just got that level of like confidence. Like, dude, love that man. He's hilarious.
We first met him at Hot Mama's Cantina. He was there with some girl, some American girl. And he was like, this is my girl. And she was actually cool. She laughed at my jokes. That's all I care.
Yeah, right. That's what matters, dude.
You get a pass.
That's it. There's nothing else for me.
You think I'm funny? You can stay.
He's just that guy, dude. He's just like
that.
He fucking fucked his way into the green card.
You might as well. Honestly, that's a great way to do it.
He's hilarious too. Yeah. It's like the way that he talks. It's so good.
Well, that's like the fish out of water thing too, where it's like he is the most unique person in any like American setting. Yeah. And it's like, ooh, who's that guy? What's your story? It's probably a lot to ask you.
For context, we're talking about another comic, Johnny Comedy. I didn't press record till after the name was said.
Yeah. But
so that's
dude,
good.
Shout
Just
out
be
Johnny
a weird
Comedy,
cold
though.
open.
Jeez, what did I say? How racist was it? I
swear
to God.
It was perfectly.
Swear,
it was on the fence,
Yeah,
I have
perfectly.
like 22 Chomsky books. I swear to God, I didn't do it.
But for a quick intro, welcome to Bird Soup.
Yeah,
we're joined with our first on-camera guest.
First one,
the prettiest, of course. If you're gonna go
the
on
most
camera,
beautiful guest that we will ever have.
Get the hottest guy in Buffalo.
Just some eye candy for you. He's not even really supposed to talk.
I had to quit my busy schedule of just smashing all day every day.
Dude,
come do your podcast.
Pencil us in.
Yeah, there's
in between
there's literally 3 girls on your porch.
Yeah.
Oh,
100%.
Yeah.
No, I saw them.
For efficiency.
I think they're hanging out around the corner.
But this is Jesse Winterhalter, everybody. Been doing comedy for a very long time. The man,
dog.
the myth, the legend.
The dude.
From Philadelphia. Is that correct?
Yeah, sort of. I have a very nomadic life. I grew up in Virginia, but Philadelphia is like... Those are like my most formative adult years. Like when I went from being like a young person to like a grown up, you know what I mean? So
right.
And it's the place I'm most identified with as it turns out I'm a very like Rust Belt dude. So after Philly and I moved to New Mexico, this little fucking like right wing oil town. They live in a long boring story we're not going to do. And but how do you get anywhere? A woman. But
right.
But I did not fit in there at all. It was fucking terrible. And then I moved into Buffalo, and everyone just thinks I'm a Buffalo guy. I'm like, I guess.
No, it's definitely you definitely have like that like Rust Belt aura that you're talking about because it's
like a generalized resentment.
Yeah,
but you're also very nice.
Yeah.
So
but there's
nice.
just like a kind of like a different like like an anger
for sure. No,
it's not really directed at whoever you're talking to, but it's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. We have a general understanding of the fuckness of it all.
Yeah, for
One
sure.
Buffalo winner would just beat hope right at you.
That's everyone in Buffalo that I know that is like from here and like wants to stay here is just trying to make it through the day.
Yeah,
like that's really the biggest thing. Where it's just like, all right, here's another one. Let's fucking figure it out.
Yeah,
like you know?
For me, they're always like, yeah. So you like Buffalo? I like the people.
I
really like a lot of people I met.
Yeah.
Like I really do like some of my favorite people I've ever met in my life are here. But
hell yeah,
how
long you been here?
Now?
Well, okay.
2014.
Okay.
Oh shit. Okay. 10
so
years.
Like September, late August, early September of 2014.
Nice.
Oh, that's not bad.
And were you already doing comedy at that point? Okay.
Oh, you started in. So you're a Buffalo comedian.
Helium was my first mic ever.
Oh
shit.
And that was when it was like, so like I knew I wanted to do comedy, but where I was, it was like 6 hours to Denver or 6 hours to Phoenix.
Oh man.
And I knew I wanted to do comedy. Because I was in music forever, but when I broke my back, I just couldn't do it. Like so I wanted to do it. I've been in love with comedy my whole life, and I wanted to do it. But I'm not a guy who can just dip my toe in and say, "Oh, I'll go up to Denver for and I'll do a couple sets, and then 4 months later, I can't. I'll go. I have to beat myself to death."
For sure.
So we were moving here, and because of a woman, and we were in a hotel room in Texarkana. I remember it was fucking pouring, and I was like signed up. I figured out how to sign up for Helium.
Okay.
And so, but back then it was like 12 5-minute spots, and you'd get a spot. And then you'd sign up every week, and it would take like 5 or 6 weeks. So like there was like all that, and then it was 6 weeks between my first and second set.
That's crazy.
And I didn't. So like, I did a couple sets at Helium, and then I found out about this place called Broadway Joe's where there was no heat, and I was on stage with a rat. And then
true comedy.
I met J-Mo there, which was cool, and Jimmy Pidd, and that was cool. And then on September of 2015, I moved like almost right across the street from Milkie's, like right next to Thirsty Buffalo. Yeah. And then it was 4 mics a week.
Yeah.
Were you the original Milkie's Mike?
No,
that's
somebody
Tyrone.
Else.
Tyrone's Mike. Okay.
Tyrone and this girl named Christy Rock, who was not a comic but was like a facilitator of a big comedy face. She wrote about comedy. Right. She had she was a writer about comedy in Chicago.
Oh, shit.
That's interesting.
People like that, and then she came here, and she was very supportive of like new comics and stuff. So it was cool. And her and Tyrone started that room.
Nice.
Well, that's crazy.
And that was the first time I'd ever done comedy in the daytime. I remember.
Oh, really? It was midday.
It was early?
Because
like 4 p.m. just starting it.
Well, it started in the summer, so like at 8 o'clock it was still light. But when I first did a Helium, you're new and you're fucking nervous, and the spotlight's in your face. You can't see. Nobody sits up front.
No.
And you can't see. And I was like, oh, it's cool, because I'm speaking into the void, and that's like less pressure. But the first time I ever actually saw people and looked at them, I was like, this is better. I want to talk to people. I don't want to talk to the fucking void.
Yeah.
And so now I hate the void.
Oh, for sure.
I want to talk. I like to.
Well, that's like since they moved Nietzsche's, like Nietzsche's is now blind.
Dude, I can't see shit.
Can't see shit.
Yeah.
I couldn't even see the light that made me get off stage.
Yeah, which is wonderful.
That's it.
Fuck that.
You love that. Yeah. Like it's all a light.
Yeah,
there's been lights on here this whole time.
Yeah, I did 18 minutes. Not my fault. Logistics.
Yeah. You're like, I couldn't figure that out. I got no concept of time whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't either.
No, not at all.
Like I do these, I think I did 37 on Friday. I think I was supposed to do 30. And then, but then last time when I was supposed to do 30, I think I did 27. Like I just, I don't have that stopwatch, and because I don't have like a set. Like this is my 20, this is my 30, because I write and I get bored of jokes very quickly. So I write a set list for every set.
For sure.
So I'm really bad, and I still don't have a watch, and I keep saying I'll buy a watch.
Yeah.
But I had to
check the time.
I just was watching it. I kept my phone, like a timer on my phone.
Well, so when you're writing, are you just doing like bullet points, and then you just do like your rant, like stream of consciousness about the bullet point? Like how deep into the writing?
I do all the things. So when you first start out, you don't know any better, so you just write everything word for word on him. And then you realize that doesn't make a lot of sense, because one of the things you do when you write like that is, in your mind, you picture where the laughs go.
Right.
So then when the laughs don't come where the laughs come in your mind, it throws you all the fuck off.
Really
so the first thing you have to learn is, don't imagine where the laughs go.
Right.
And then after that, you're still writing it out. But my thing was, if the jokes and like the things you want to say, the important parts are I like specific wording and I like vocabulary and stuff. But if you don't write in every is and the and whatever, then you start to become, it sounds more natural.
Right.
I want, because there's like, some people do one-liners, some people do bits, some people do stories. I like to write all kinds of jokes, but it needs to fit in a certain framework.
Right.
And the only one that really makes sense to write, have one-liners next to bits, next to fucking more story, is conversational. Make it sound like you're just talking, and
for sure,
you find out that people are more impressed
if they think it's off the cuff. For sure.
So that's why you work in riffs, and I always start with commenting on the room. I have a couple of cold open jokes that I do once, but almost 99% of the time I start talking and then I get, because it puts that rhythm in people's head of your talking.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And then they're just more impressed by you.
And that was like, for me, because we did 15-minute sets.
I was just saying yesterday. When we started, because when we started, like with what you're talking about, I was that way, where I would write every little thing up,
me too.
And it would completely fuck me.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh shit. And now I do more of like, I'll write, like, so if there's like something that I'm like, oh, this is like, this wording is actually important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if the order of the words actually, I will write like that tag out or like that punch or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if the wording's not important, it'll just be like, okay, this is like the fucking P. Diddy joke. This is whatever.
And a lot of that comes from being able to think that way by having done it a million times.
For sure.
A lot of times now I don't write, like I'll be in a grocery store and I'll just think of one line and I'll put that down and I can just write on stage now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
We just work it out. But that comes with the thing. Everything comes with doing it a long time, because when you're early on, you don't, even at mics, you don't want to bomb. You want to impress the other comics and all that stuff. But now it's like...
Well, it also just feels shitty to bomb.
You feel shitty to...
It's way better when you're actually making people laugh.
And I feel like that's with like the whole like idea of being prepared, like to come in with like jokes loaded is like great. And it's like to be there and be confident to go up is huge, but at the same time, like once you're in the thing, like you got to be there and like present and doing stuff, because that's what I was gonna say. Like we did like 15-minute sets at Hot Mama's yesterday. It was for three people. But you know, that was one of those things where I was just trying to remember all of my jokes and like say them as I like remembered them, but I wasn't like there. Like I wasn't like performing in the space. Like I was like, what was that? So it's like you have to find that like medium ground of like knowing what you're gonna say, but also being there.
And it's an imperfect thing where it's like basketball. Like sometimes you show up to the gym and you feel exactly the same as you always do, and you want to play just, but some reason your jumper's just off.
Yeah,
it's just in comedy. Sometimes you're just like, I'm fucking ready to go, and you're like, I'm not. Things aren't clicking. It's not. But when you're
when it's like good,
it's crazy.
You're just in it all.
It's riding a wave for sure.
All the bullshit to me. It's worth all the, and we know there's a lot of people upset about a lot of shit right now.
Yeah.
In our little local corner of the world. But dude, it's fucking like I took 12 hours worth of bus ride to go to a place called Calicoon because you're gonna hand me a fucking room full of people and tell me to do as long, do fucking 35 minutes.
For sure.
The timing trade-off is like you have to like understand how important that feels.
And you're just
and it's a whole new audience too, because I feel like that's when you are just like in your hometown or like wherever you mainly are, like just the same people are going out to see comedy, so it's like at a certain point it's either them or just random people.
He was willing to go there.
And actually, I'd love to be on there. I love that. Like, home is where your problems are.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's great, but like when you can just pull the plug and there's like nothing I can do about anything. I'm just here.
Yeah. Right.
I'm just on the road.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And if it wasn't for my kid, I would have been gone a long time ago.
Did you ever do like when you started? At any point, did you ever do like a tour, like any like sort of extended trip or anything?
No, not like a long tour, but I'm constantly on the road.
Right. You go around.
Yeah,
I'm
regional because of my kid. But now it's like things are better. Like for a long time, I have full custody of my kid, and for the first couple of years, like he wanted nothing to do with his mother, and then it was a thing, and like so I slowly helped just rebuilding that relationship, and so now I can do a little bit more and more. I was able to do a festival finally, and stuff like so. Like those prospects are coming, but now that I keep having, now it's like no, but I got to have fucking back surgery and again, so it's like
it's always another hurdle.
There's all these things that is like not kind of allowing me to fully do what I want to do, Also, I have not a promotional bone in my body, so I don't even have clips.
No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is your first one. Just right away.
I
got booked off this random podcast I did that has 8 followers. It was a good clip though. The clip got like 2K. Dude, you should see the numbers.
Hey man, when you can out heavy the podcast you're on, that's the fucking way to go.
There you go, dude.
Oh my God, yeah. No, and I was actually wondering, like, I was thinking about, like, what should we, like, ask him? Like, questions, like, we didn't ever really had guests or anything.
No.
But specific to you, if you gotten into like the movie world as well? Because I know you are a big movie guy.
Oh yeah, we had a very long ass fun talk about movies the other day.
But like to be involved in the making of them or anything,
not
or
yet,
is it just
not really? I've done a couple of things. Like I've done some sketches with people and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
because I know Netzel is like in the shit.
I've done a couple, but no, he's what he does in the larger film industry is really physical labor,
right?
Intensive. I mean, he builds sets.
He's like a crafty.
He does real shit. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's like he's not like but like it's stuff with a guy with a broken back can't do.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. But you can like tell him where to put stuff.
You're more like
move that over.
Yeah, you're a supervisor, more kind of vibe. Yeah.
However, this fiction thing that I'm writing.
The Substack.
The bystander. I put it. It's just I just throw in my first. I have this. I don't know if I should get into that. It's like blah blah blah. But I
put it in the description.
I haven't written the script yet, but like I thought maybe that would be the first good practice for me is after I finish it. Then converting that into a script,
right.
Like,
and for context, that's like a semi-fictional.
No, it's all fictional except for one chapter. I snuck in, and some of the stories. There's a few of the things like the not the last chapter, but the one before is the story of his talking about when he overdosed. That's 100% true. That's 100% my overdose story.
Yeah,
and then the thing about I talked about. When I was in the hospital. So I was in the hospital for 10 days in August, and they were just jacking me up with Decadone, which is the world's strongest steroids. And they were just going, it was just Decadone, Dilaudid. Decadone, Dilaudid. So I was up for 60 hours, whacked out of my mind. They gave me so much Decadone that I got diabetes from it. I don't have it now, but they were giving me, so I was getting insulin injections, and I was just out of my mind. And I was in a hospital, and I started thinking about, I had to pull the plug on my mom and all that. And I was having all these thoughts about being in the hospital. So I totally just hijacked the narrative of this fiction story. It was like, I'm going to just write about me. But it is really, it sounds terrible because it's probably the funniest. It's really fun. I mean, it's a comedy book. I don't want people to think
it's not
I don't think I'm fucking Cormac McCarthy or anything.
Right. It's like,
but I know how to be funny. Whether you like art or whatever is completely, subjective, but technically I am a good writer.
Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of being a good writer is just knowing what is good writing. Right. I think a lot of the times, and then especially if like you've gone through fucking life experience, like that sort of shit. It's like, that's like what all the good stories are kind of based off of. It's like what happened and like, I mean like finagle things here and there to like make the story better or whatever.
And there's just also the things of like ideas that don't really work as stand-up.
Right.
But that are very funny to me. Things I want to say, things I want to talk about.
Right.
Like I said, it's a comedy. It's a satire. It's a dark comedy. But if and it's first person narrative from the world's most unreliable narrator. So every once in a while he's going to say something. You have to be true. But it's not. I'm not like the focus of it is it's a fucking comedy book written by a comedian. I'm not pretending that But,
and you're doing like chapter by chapter, like publishing.
It's completely
just by that.
The ideal was I called it serialized flash fiction.
Okay.
And people don't read.
Yeah.
And I wanted to sneak fiction into the modern world. So I'm like, what if I wrote this book that every time, if you were just in an Uber, you could just
like 3-minute reads.
Every chapter is 3 or 4 minutes tops, and they're self-contained. Every chapter has a kind of starts starts and ends at a specific point, so they can be read. I was actually really bummed when a plot developed because my idea was I had this idea for a character where you see all these movies all the time, the minutia of life and the little think of Falling Down as the best example. But there's a million of those where the guy can't take it anymore and he blows up and he gets a gun and I'm like, what if there was a guy who was the complete opposite, who just folded, who just at every opportunity he shrank from everything and he just becomes more apathetic and more internal. So he's just walking around in his own fucking head all the time and the world is just floating. So he ends up in this position because I thought it would be hysterical with the true crime thing that it's a reality show, it's a dating show called Love Will Set You Free. And what it is 7 serial killers on death row. And whichever one she picks, it gets to live.
That's fantastic.
It gets to live, right?
That's a really good.
And so then, so I was like,
the dystopian Netflix model.
Yeah. So my thing is, so my character ends up running the show.
Yeah.
But there's only two ways he could do that. One, he's the worst person in the world, which I didn't find that interesting. I mean, I've read American Psycho. I could never do better than writing about the worst person. That book is so perfect. So the other one
by a woman.
There was the other one was is a guy who just floats through life and just ends up there by complete happenstance
just
because he's such a pussy. You know what I mean? Like he just ends up there.
Yeah.
And so
that is a great character model too.
Oh, for sure.
Because like everybody wants to be like, oh, dude, I'm like the super villain.
Yeah.
Like to everybody where it's like, oh, you think you're like the hero, or you think you're like. You're like, I'm so nefarious and clever, but mostly everybody's just like a pushover.
Yeah.
For the most part,
it's
like,
way easier.
It crushes us all sooner or later anyway.
Yeah.
So this guy's just, and it's...
There's just way more pushovers than like obliquely evil people.
Yeah.
And that's why like, what it's like, why people like fucking, like the really bad, like Americans say who can be successful.
Yeah.
Because most people are just
like, that's
apathetic.
Me. That's
to
actually
anything
me.
Like apping. They're like, yeah, sure, do whatever, dude.
Yeah,
That's really like insane. Doesn't really affect me.
Because we're so weighed down with minutia.
Oh, yeah.
So I get to, that was one of the things early on, especially to just talk about how fucking soul crushing all the stupid, endless minutia of regular life, just the fucking paperwork and the fucking emails.
Yep.
And the
having to take a shower.
Listen to you and every fucking
that's a
thing.
whole thing. Like keeping your space clean, like having a getting fucking cleaning your dishes.
Yeah,
it's like fuck, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
Like there's so much else going on.
So much dumb shit you got to do that you don't care about.
Well, it's hard to not just end up like cynical like that too.
Yeah,
like you like somebody falls 2 stories and they're like, no ambulance, please.
Yeah.
It's
I think I'm good
dude.
here.
Like, like, I'm gonna walk it off. It's like your fucking foot's backwards. And we live in that kind of world, and then you're just like, well, dude, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Whatever.
Because probably because you had like the one little thing you're looking forward to in life, and that's gonna take that away from you.
Right?
Fuck.
Yeah, you're like, dude, come on, I gotta be able to DoorDash this month.
I
can't afford an ambulance right now, for real.
Just patch me up, doc.
Yeah. So it's like at a point, like, that's not gonna pay my bills. It's like whatever, or it's like the opposite, where it's like he is hosting the show because he's like, well, I gotta pay my fucking mortgage. He's like, well, you're gonna come at me for this. I got bills to pay, dude.
100%.
Well, already he's because he was so overwhelmed, he's already fucking whacked out of his college buddy is like the guy who runs the company, this big ad company,
and that is how you get jobs.
Gave him the job of he's a showrunner. He's not the host. He's the showrunner. And then there's going to be reasons behind. There's more to it than that, but I'm not going to.
You got to read it.
You got to read it.
Yeah. You got it. We gave you the taste.
3 minutes at a time, and you just got to take a shit or whatever.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, like I said, I was actually
I
kind
love
of bummed
shit
when
reads.
the plot developed.
Because
I was like, I wanted
That's
to make
funny.
every story just an individual because
like you're tuning into Star Trek or something.
Yeah. It's just this guy.
Same
you're in the head of
character.
this fucking asshole. But unfortunately, a plot developed. But it's
Well, that reminds me of a lot of like the way that like webcomics kind of got big and like did like those little like blurbs, even like fucking the Peanuts. Like it's like the same thing where it's like who these people are only because you watched like or seen like 3 of the fucking strips. So it's like, and then that's all you really need. It's just a couple characters that are like centralized and like work together.
It'll be funny when you get your Netflix deal or whatever, and you make the show, and then they do like they did with Squid Game. They're gonna do a real life.
Yeah.
They're gonna do like a real life.
It's gonna be so meta it hurts.
Saving people from.
BTK is gonna get
yeah, dude, right? Fucking.
They're like, we've read your stories.
He's in my
I
story.
don't know.
It's 6 made-up killers, and then BTK
is
in there because he sucks so bad. Like he's such a douchebag.
It's like, hey, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Talking about a serial killer with no charm.
Yes, exactly. He's the worst. He's the fucking worst.
At least put like a clown suit on or something.
Yeah,
dude. Fucking spice it up.
He didn't have a thing, dude. He's just lame. His whole thing was be boring and lame.
I like to choke himself and jerk off. That's really.
I mean, that's a little spice. That's a little.
You had, Gacy was fucking, a clown or whatever. And
what was
who's the other guy?
fucking forgot his name.
The one guy made lampshades out of
Ed Gein.
Ed Gein,
yeah. He was mostly a gravedigger, but he killed a couple people.
Yeah,
two or
but
three.
He also he
made all that. You ever seen pictures of that
that's
shit?
What I'm saying. Like Blind Torture Kill might be more successful, but there was some flair.
Yeah,
there was some flair with Ed Gein, dude.
Something that set him apart.
Dude. He had a fucking unique take.
Dude, Zodiac has all like the fucking horoscope girlies. Yeah, like, come on, dude. Like, if you're gonna do it, like, have a brand.
And Zodiac got away with it.
Have a brand. Yeah,
you gotta have a
branding before we.
Dude, nothing.
He had a little symbol.
Yeah, you learn that in marketing school now.
If you're gonna kill
people, he controlled the narrative. Okay.
You gotta.
Netflix just dropped a new thing. They're like, every few years, they're like, oh no, we solved it this time. I fell asleep during it today.
Yeah, now there's been like 300 different Zodiac killers. Well, I find it interesting too because Zodiac's a great movie, but then there's like the Korean version of Zodiac.
Oh yeah, I think we were talking about
not version,
this.
but it's like their own serial killer. It's by Bong Joon-ho. About a Korean serial killer who was still at large at the time.
Oh, okay.
And like, so Bong Joon-ho made this movie, and then at the end, like, this
Memories
is really
of
a
Murder?
spoiler. Because,
dude,
like,
I've been trying to fucking watch that.
Memories
It was
of
on
Murder.
Criterion, right?
Yes, it's Criterion.
I gotta get my Criterion.
Yeah, you gotta watch that.
I realized that when my debit card just expired like a month ago, so I had to go redo it.
Oh,
and
fuck.
I didn't redo my Criterion, so because I went to dial it. We had this conversation. I went to pull.
Oh yeah. Well, then I might have told you the story already, but then it's like so at the end of the movie, and this isn't a spoiler because the guy's like was at large in real life. So it's like, but he has the main character like break the fourth wall, look into the camera, and Bong Joon-ho's like, yeah, I want the killer to know that I'm like looking right at him. And then the killer like found out about the movie or whatever.
Responded to it?
Yeah, he was like, yeah, it was me because he was already in jail for life.
That's right. Yeah,
through other shit.
And so this guy's
like,
in jail and he's like,
you got me.
Shit,
dude. And he was actually
that was a good movie.
Like, so I mean, obviously, like changed names and shit.
Yeah.
But, like they interviewed. He was like a worker at a nearby factory where all the murders were happening, and they interviewed everybody at the factory, and they literally interviewed the guy who did it at one point, and then they let him go.
Yeah.
So there's theoretically a scene with the actual killer.
Oh wait, so did they
actually
not know
interviewed, and they didn't.
No
they couldn't like.
shit.
Yeah. Well, and it's like
That's like the Green River Killer. They brought him in a bunch of times.
Who's that? I don't even heard of that.
He's well, there's this Samuel, what's his face, that claimed 90 something, but he was the record holder. The Green River Killer had
claim
70.
a lump though. Like the numbers seem.
Yeah, I know.
Someone's fudging me.
It's like okay, because they're all like braggadocious assholes.
Yeah, but
it's a high score game.
But with the Green River Killer, they're confident to 71.
Okay, they're actually confident.
And, because he got away with it for like 30 years too.
Jesus.
Well, how much did they say? What's his name? Did the famous guy? Bundy did about 30. 30? Okay.
Yeah, but he was like a charmer.
But they think it could be higher.
Right.
But they know 30. They know 30. He ended up in the last day of his life, basically.
Back then, you could just do because nobody.
There's no cameras.
And then there's a scene, like literally in Zodiac. Speaking of Zodiac, where they're like they had all this information that like the county was just not sharing with the city and all that.
Dude, the pettiness between departments.
Without computers, how are they ever gonna connect these dots?
Every serial killer story, there's 10 times where they had his ass and they just fucked that up. The cops just fuck it up.
Yeah. Well, because
it's like FBI versus like local versus
like no DNA.
Yeah.
Like you know, like what they're gonna find fingerprints on a corpse that's been decaying for like fucking 80 years.
You gotta evolve.
You see movies now and they're like, we got a half a print off a cornea. Back then they're just like, yep, he's dead.
We found a popsicle in the trash. His fingerprints were on there.
It looks like somebody.
Pretty
killed
sure
him.
it was a bullet. Yeah.
He was shot, stabbed, or strangled. So it was something.
One of them. I don't know.
Unless somebody told on a motherfucker, they're gonna get away with it.
We know he's not moving. That's the main thing we got. Who did it? I don't know.
Do you guys ever watch like interrogation videos on YouTube? It's like a guilty pleasure.
Not often.
Right. It's not a daily thing, but
no,
this is a refresh.
It's like the same like thing where I'm like, where if you watch like fucking Hoarders or something,
this
guy's just a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
dude.
Oh, for sure.
But because it amazes you how many times like they used to get like cops must have been fucking dumbasses back then. Because the people doing these crimes are not like Machiavellian geniuses.
No,
they're usually like fucked up, weird shut-ins.
Well, they like to think that they are.
Look you in the eye.
They have like the confidence of Machiavellian.
That makes you so vulnerable to interrogation.
Sure.
If you're super arrogant like that,
that's the thing you notice of like when you see Bunny or those kind of guys and you go, nobody in that situation but a complete feelingless sociopath could be. Bundy was always smiling and joking around, facing like 30 fucking life sentences and shit. And he would be like, I'm confident. You know, guys.
Insane.
Only a fucking, there's no regular person
who's going to act like that.
No way.
Well, but then he's also, like, any time any, like, prosecutor hears, I'm going to represent myself, they're like,
this guy's good.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it. Dude. I think that's an admission of guilt.
As shit. He fucking proposed marriage. He did crazy shit.
Dude. Breaking out of the what was it, a bathroom in like during a hearing.
He broke out it twice. One time it was there was a library that they used to let him use. I know way too much. I did Bourbon Legends for a long time, so I researched these guys really.
Gotcha.
Heavy. So I would spend like 2 weeks with these guys. You know, I know too much about some of these guys, but yeah, one time it was like the law library in the courthouse in Colorado on Aspen, and he jumped out of the second level, and then the second time he escaped from prison, he lost like all this weight and took there's a little square light in the ceiling, and he fucking lost 30 pounds, climbed up through that light, through the ceiling, dropped down into the quarters of the guy, like the warden's quarters, put his clothes on and walked out the front door.
That's so nuts.
Holy fuck. He wasn't a genius, but Bundy was kind of good.
Yeah. He was the first round draft pick. I would have picked him up.
Criminals go.
Yeah.
If you can break out twice.
He wasn't the worst to do it,
No, dude.
But it also is just like, you know, he's probably just surrounded by idiots too.
Right.
It's not like, you know, the fucking wherever the fuck he got caught. It's not like it's not like they're fielding like, you know, the fucking super geniuses in the county jail.
But not geniuses. But here's the thing: is that some of they're designed super predators, so they're fucking charming.
Yeah.
They have that thing where they can make people trust them or feel comfortable because that's part of their
sociopath. They have to do that to even exist.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
Like the Scar and the Lion King sort of shit, where it's just like, I'm just waiting for the chance, waiting for that moment. Fucking let the dude off the cliff. Like that's fucking. But I don't know, man. It's just crazy from like a brain standpoint to even like get on the level with anyone like that. Like it's just like the amount of like shit that had to go wrong early and often to just like sprout whatever the fuck
only a couple
demon
of them,
that is.
There's a couple of them that were born that way, but most of them were made.
Because Ted Bundy, his thing was like his mom was like a hooker.
His grandfather was his father. Turned out.
Oh, Jesus!
That's what it was. It was like he wasn't.
That'll fuck you up.
He didn't. Yeah, but his child, I think he was pretty much born that way. He was pretty because I mean, you
got the DNA.
Guys,
something.
Am I wrong? Wasn't his mom like a? Didn't he have like a specific resentment towards women because of his mother's?
No, his hatred was his
somebody
first
else.
Girlfriend. Yeah, you're thinking of a lot of them.
Okay,
a lot of them. Like Kemper. Kemper hated his mother so much.
But Kemper's mother was like an overbearing.
Yeah, she was. A lot of them is like that.
Of like he hated her because she was like always lording over him. And then there's also the other side where it's like if your mom like abandons you. To like just fucking new dude every few days.
Yeah, or with Gacy it was the father. You're a fag.
Yeah, and his like
you're this and that kind of thing.
Yeah, his overbearing like Nazi-ish father.
Yeah, you can never get as and closeted gay.
Yeah,
which really fucks people up. And I just watched the Aaron Hernandez thing. And
dude.
Man.
Wait, Aaron Hernandez was gay?
Very gay.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with it.
Plus, being
in
that
why
world,
he killed the dude? Was it like?
Well, no, it was a combination.
It's a lot of factors here.
Yeah. He had anger issues.
Trauma.
He did have a mean dad that kind of drove you to and he had really bad drug problems, and he had a lot of head injuries.
Yeah.
His brain was fucking Swiss cheese
every weekend. For most of his life.
His whole fucking life.
You say every, but it's not just the games, dude. It's
it's practices.
It's fucking everything for his whole life. And then it's even worse because if you're gonna be like in the NFL, you probably did it your formative years too.
100%.
Pee-wee football. Fucking junior high school.
Just getting knocked around.
Car crashes. Boom, 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 all the time.
That I would say.
They say too with like fighters and stuff. It's like the ones that are like getting knocked out, not good.
No,
but like the real thing that happens is if you're like taking like like 100 little jabs in a night.
Yeah.
And then you can come back the next day and be fine. Mm-hmm. Come back the next day and you're just taking 100 unnoticeable shakes. But it still has an impact.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like getting knocked out. I mean, I've only been like knocked out once, but you barely even notice that.
Yeah.
But like if you have like a long day of like sparring or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like my head's sore for like 3 days.
Yeah.
But it's like you don't notice in the moment. So
and
it's
you don't do anything different. You just you don't rest it. You don't let it fucking.
Yeah, you take a fucking Advil.
Yeah, you take an Advil and fucking go practice.
I'm good, dude. I ain't no bitch.
And these guys, the football players and stuff, they're jacked up on fucking painkillers.
Yeah,
and shit. So they don't even know how hard they're getting hit and how much.
Most of them, like that's what I was gonna say. I think the most dangerous. I mean, obviously the NFL, fucking everyone's the best of the best and are competing against each other. But like fucking JV varsity football, like that's where like. The practices are just as bad as the games.
And they don't have all the fucking science.
They don't give a shit.
Healthcare that goes into the pros.
No. Well, and they don't drug test either. And like so it's just like you're doing all your steroids at 15.
Yes,
like,
dude.
Oh, my God.
And let me tell you, there's nothing worse. The worst highs. Dude, and I've done everything. And I've done everything in combinations of everything together at the same time. There is no worse a drug feeling than fucking being jacked on steroids. It is the fucking worst. Like I said,
you just gotta get it out.
Dude, like I said, they did jam 10 days of them jamming me full of.
Well, you get like because you have like literally like 14-year-olds on like Tren.
Yeah,
they're like so they're still like
you get off it before high school.
They're like short and wide. And their brains aren't fully developed, and they're just totally like how are you
dude? 5'8's good enough.
Fucking racehorse steroids. Is it Wisterol?
Yeah, dude. It's like dude, the emotional damage has to be almost as bad.
Oh, it is. It is. It makes you crazy. Oh, you should ask. Trevor, Prygon, and Kevin. I was on a group chat with them fucking when I was like out of my mind on all these drugs. And Kevin Andrews he just took this random jab at me for no reason. And so for like 3 hours, I'm just like explaining.
You poke the bear.
Yeah. I was out of my fucking mind, and I had to get out of the hospital.
You don't understand, dude.
Whatever I did in there, you can't hold it against me. Whatever I was out of my mind,
dude.
And you don't sleep.
No, I'd imagine. Yeah. I mean, it's like it's not really a comfortable environment. I would say just
and then, so you're not sleeping. Your brain's going to be fucking completely open to punishment.
Yeah.
And also, it had no effect. So I was in agonizing pain the whole entire time, and they weren't doing shit for that fucking place. Don't go to ECMC. They're fucking terrible. All right.
Shit. It's the America.
We lost
to
America. But that's fine. That's fine. We don't want them anyway.
To announce our ECMC partnership. Actually,
they're the official hospital of the Buffalo Bills, so that's something.
Are they?
I severely doubt that.
Can you imagine?
Like they didn't even sweep.
They're like, we fly our guys out, dude. If something bad happens, we're not.
I cannot imagine them handing the fruit cup to Josh Allen. I got
here. We got you a melted ice cream.
Yeah, here's this bland.
You can walk this
one
all
of
the way
those
up
little
the stairs.
wooden spoons.
Yeah. Your dinner's just called meat. This is a black type.
We have brown meat and white meat.
Oh, we get colors today. Big day on the fucking.
Well, no, it's because you're on the Bills.
I didn't get. I didn't get a choice.
No.
Josh Allen gets 2 choices of meats.
We like to call this dish mostly mashed potatoes. We don't know what else is in there, but it's mostly mashed potatoes.
It's called mashed.
It's just some
mashed stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Bangers and mash.
Dude.
That's the pills and the mash,
Yeah, I only know that as a Radiohead B-side, but I get it.
Isn't it it's sausage
I think it's a sausage or something.
It's sausage and like mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
This is a Radiohead song?
It's a B-side from In Rainbows.
It's like a British type
but Tom York plays drums on it.
In Rainbows is my favorite of the Radioheads.
In Rainbows does rule.
It's got the most variety, a little bit more colorful, Sometimes it's the other stuff is a little bit like I want to like get out of bed today. This isn't like what I need to really go out and face the day.
Yeah, dude, you hear like what's the one song on
OK Computer?
No Surprises. You're thinking it's always
No Surprises.
The world's most depressing song.
It is
that comes out. It is No Surprises.
Or Fade Out is really bad.
Yeah. But that fucking
or there's like the robot one where he's talking about
healthier, happier.
Yeah, you're like you listen to that, you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like I gotta.
I'm not gonna be a cog in this machine. I'm going back to bed.
You're like what the? You're like this one, I'm definitely not going to work now, dude. What this bullshit, dude?
Oh my god.
I'm about to call my boss and call him an asshole. Dude, this shit sucks, dude.
But with music,
what do you think I am? A computer?
Okay. Okay, computer.
Okay.
Radiohead puns. That's what's up, y'all. Hey. You came to the right place.
Oh my god! But no, what was music wise? What like?
How'd you get into that?
Was that was like your first
there?
Your first love?
I'm gonna summarize because I don't think anyone gives a shit. Anyone that is listening to this knows my comedy. I was born that way. I knew I wanted to make music a long time, but I grew up, really, really, really poor and wearing a meat dress, and so I had to wait till I was old enough to sell drugs before I could start buying music equipment, and so yeah, I just always knew I wanted to make music, and then I got a guitar, and then I started, and it just came very natural to me. Like,
so were you ever like in bands or anything?
Oh well. So I started starting bands, and I started in punk bands, and then kind of got still always at that time like heavy, but like a little more like Smashing Pumpkins kind of, but like the heavy side more, the loud, big Wall of Sound, Sonic Youthy, fucking, always a Wall of Sound guy, and then people suck. True. So like if you're really driven to do something, it's so hard to get people to care as much as you.
It's true.
So like I put bands together, and the bass player would have a drug problem, and the other guitar player would have his bitch girlfriend who wouldn't let him do
You got Yoko Ono in Philadelphia,
and the drummer, the other guy just wanted to say he was in a band. Yeah. He really didn't like. So nobody. So then I just learned bass myself, and then I just learned how to play drums, and then you had to get somebody who had to record. So then I just learned how to record myself, and then.
A Renaissance
I had started going to raves for the drugs, and to get out of, because I grew up in the, I don't say the hood, but I grew up in the fucking ghetto.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get out, and it's this crazy thing that is like one of the most like influential things that happened to me in life. But I realized, so because I was white, that I could just leave the ghetto and just be a white guy. Like I could get a job
for sure,
out on the other side of town, and I could just be a white guy. None of my friends had that fucking option. They wore it. You know what I mean? So like that was really that was my come to, and I didn't understand it as sophisticatedly. I was like 16, 17.
Kid,
Didn't understand it as sophisticatedly, but so slowly I was able. So I made white friends for the first time in my life when I was 18.
Damn.
And then
overrated. Honestly,
they took me to. It took me a while to understand how white people get. But anyway, so I started having white friends, and then they took me.
Usually, got to get them IPAs.
They took me to a rave, and when I went to a rave, it was like I used to go to a club. When we go to a club, you had 5 carloads of guys, and who the fuck are you looking at? And someone was going to get in a fight and whatever. And I loved fighting when I was young, but when it turned into fucking people getting stabbed and then getting shot, I was not cool with that. I was not. You
never know what somebody's rolling with.
I was really all about fighting, but I was not the tough guy with guns. When people pulled guns, I fucking
nobody's
turned
a
to
tough
ice.
guy with guns.
No, there are. Unfortunately, I knew some guys that'd be like, "Fuck you, kill me." I wasn't that dude.
No, dude.
I was the guy who could just
instead of punch me first, like shoot me first.
Yeah.
See what happens. Self-defense.
I mean, it was really
dumbass.
So then I went to a rave, and I took ecstasy for the first time, and then everyone was nice and hugging me and it was a mind-blowing experience.
That's crazy.
So I was really into the rave for the drugs, but I didn't really, musically, it wasn't like the way I wanted to express myself until I saw the Chemical Brothers. It was real fucking thing. And I saw Orbital, and I saw the live groups that weren't DJs. They were fucking all this stuff, and they were playing their music live.
Yep.
And so I was like, I don't have to, if I do that, I don't have to depend on motherfuckers anymore. Yeah. So I just got MIDI gear, and I just taught myself MIDI, and I just started doing live electronic performance.
That's huge.
And I was... starting to really build up. People were coming to see me in Pennsylvania and in Philly,
dope.
and then I broke up with my kid's mom, and then I had to move to New Mexico. I had a choice. She was fucking up, and like she had got whacked on drugs and crashed our car and everything. So I was like, I could have took him away from his mother, but he was fucking 3. He was my first son, not this son. Yeah. So I'm old as shit, by the way. And so
you're experienced.
I was like, she was like, her parents lived in New Mexico, and she was like, I need to go dry out and get my shit together. And I didn't, and I was like, all right, go, I'll be there. So 4 months I fucking saved up and I moved to New Mexico, and that was so in New Mexico I built a fucking studio and I fucking I made all kinds of, and I was still I had multiple projects that were all just me, and I had stuff where it was mostly guitar and live instruments and I was doing all that, singing? But there was no one. I'm not a very good singer, but I can. For indie rock, I can do it because you know what I mean. Like,
you can kind of
you just hang out in one octave, and I could do that.
I know the notes.
Yeah.
I got rhythm.
So, but not a great singer. But not the worst you ever. But it worked for my music because at that time, my electronic stuff was big and loud, and so was my other stuff. But it was kind of like. Somebody called it "If Kid A was made by My Bloody Valentine."
Oh shit! Really?
That's great. Yeah. That's compliment.
Yeah, I thought that was as close as anyone could get to it. So then I was doing that, but there was like no one to do it for. But I was just doing it for myself, basically.
And then I broke. This is in New Mexico.
In New Mexico.
Okay, yeah.
And then I broke my back, and then went through all kinds of construction accidents. I took a second job. So. I was doing stuff, but then when you're in construction, you get offered these side jobs and stuff.
Right.
And I was like, hey, there's a side job. We're putting down a foundation for a house, whatever. So I'm like breaking up this New Mexico clay with this like 40-pound pickaxe. You got this fucking hard red clay. Got to break it up. Boom. And there was a stone in there. And when I hit it,
it goes right back up.
It was like getting struck by lightning. My back just exploded at the bottom.
Dude.
Oh, shit.
And that so
it wasn't even like a fall or anything.
It was boom. I thought. It was so crazy too because I thought I had torn my whole like Achilles out and all this stuff, but it's just the nerve.
It's
the nerve from the disc exploded. The disc exploded. That is really defined the rest of my life, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I couldn't ever, like I said, because I was writing the songs, I was playing the songs, I was doing the production, the mixing, the mastering, everything. So it was just 16-hour days. I was a lunatic too. Like couldn't, when I was making an album, you'd come to my house, didn't see me for 3 weeks, and you'd come and my hair would be standing up. And the music would be so loud in my head that I couldn't even hear people. Yeah. Like I was a lunatic. So like comedy is way more mentally healthy for me because just words.
Yeah, right.
It's words in my head and not noise. So it's like way better. And
you start to you're like, I can speak English.
Yeah. And not having to set up fucking gear, having to plug in 50 MIDI cables and fucking.
Well, dude, we were at Milkie's yesterday, and then like the DJ, like singer dude.
Yeah, dude, I felt his pain.
Yeah, it was like, dude, that guy seems miserable.
Dude, I felt his pain so much because my rig was bigger than his, like a lot. So
that's making a show.
That's what I'm saying though. He it was like the whole stage was packed out, and I can't even imagine having more than that.
Yeah, that was exactly that was me.
Yeah,
that was
it's nuts, man.
I mean, my music was way louder and bigger, but.
Yeah,
it was, that I had all that fucking gear. Breaking. Oh, dude. Now you just show up, you just have a notebook and a pen. Are you fucking kidding me?
Dude, just come with a USB cable, dude. or what is that, flash drive? Just fucking play all your shit. Just like, I made it back there. It's fine. Just put it on the thing.
So good.
But that reminds me.
Yeah, it's like somebody like they like fucking just play one of their records.
Oh yeah, it's easy enough. It's like I'm gonna fade it into the other one.
Yeah, and that's like when people the DJ like there's DJs I fucking love.
Oh yeah.
Being on the rave scene, there's great DJs, but like I never had any interest in it. I even learned how to do it just for fun. I had a girlfriend who I was trying to keep, like, given her something to do when I was gigging, so I like learned how to DJ as I teach her. We got turntables and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I never wanted to play other people's music. No. Like, I was never a cover guy.
No. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we play covers like in band practice and stuff like that. But like,
well,
I never wanted to play
like
other people's music.
Good to do like a cover that, like, you know, like
well, to make it your own.
Doing Hurt or something.
Yeah.
Read the Respect is a cover.
Yeah. No, there's a couple of things.
Yeah, it's a Bill Withers song.
Oh shit, that's insane.
There was a couple of things that I do, or like
Along the Watchtower.
I'm not a I'm a sound design guy. Like I build all my sounds from the ground up. I don't sample other people's music, but you have to sample voices because you can't I can't recreate the human voice.
No. Right.
I sample a lot of Bjork.
Really.
I actually can play it, but it's fucking silly.
That's awesome.
It doesn't have sonically. It's pretty limited. It's kind of fun to fuck with because I had a Roland sampler that had a laser thing. It was the exact same thing. But the thing that was cool is you could do it with anything. So you could load a fucking, you could put a drum loop in there and shit like that.
That's nuts. That's cool.
Are
you a LCD sound system guy at all?
I've learned. See, at the time when they were out, like it was soft to me.
Yeah.
So I always just thought so many people, like non-electronic people that integrated electronic stuff, it was just like very soft to me. It was like, I know preset sounds when I hear them and shit like that. Sure. And I'm not saying that that guy's obviously very talented. Yeah. And I actually really appreciate him now.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say similar story. That's like from the just going to a rave and taking ecstasy. He's like, I just want to make this shit.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is this?
My thing was like, first of all, the thing that's cool is it can be pretty and hugely powerful at the same time, which is a lot harder to do with guitar-based music.
For sure.
It's usually one or the other. But also just the fact of not having to depend on other people. Yeah, I've had so much bad experiences.
That's
because I really give a fuck.
Yeah,
like 100%. I'm like, about things I do, 100%. And other people are just like, we practiced for half an hour. Let's get drunk and fuck it. I'm like, fuck, dude, I wrote these songs, So.
Yeah,
but that is. Also,
but I wanted to
for
perform.
the same reason why comedy's.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
like
barriers to entry are just gonna come up like anything that can go wrong will go wrong or whatever. So it's like,
right.
Yeah, like, all right, obviously.
Sophie's choice.
Like, dude, yeah. Like, eventually.
Sophie's choice. You should make that where you have to work in Sophie's choice to every podcast. Yeah. At some point, you got to work that in.
Yeah.
You got to
I mean, you're choosing between getting drunk and being stupid and actually making something of yourself. Yeah. So, in a way.
Well, comedy is great, too. I was talking about this guy where it's like, I can just be drunk and do comedy too. Yeah. I don't gotta, whatever.
But if I'm drunk and do comedy and it sucks, I'm pissed. I'm like, why the fuck did I do that to myself?
Why did I drink? Yeah.
I should have just been drunk after comedy. That would have been way better.
It really is though. It's like, the bass player's bitch girlfriend's eventually gonna have a problem.
Yes.
With this. Fucking the drummer's eventually gonna, his grandma's gonna.
This is like my third or fourth podcast because I'm just every person. I'm like, fucking okay, you guys do your thing. I don't know. I'll just do this by myself.
Well, yeah, and like because we did do like podcasting is not even nearly as hard as like doing the music stuff, but like it was always like we would make a show or whatever, and then like. The third host would be like, "Oh, I can't do it today."
Yeah.
Or like the guest would back out, and then if it's like a theme show,
we'd
be like, okay, well, we can't do this without a guest because it's all about the guest,
right? Yeah.
And then so now it's like, okay, we're just gonna do a show that's just us. We live 4 minutes from each other, and then it's gonna be no format. We're just gonna riff like whatever,
right?
And so it's like
keeps it
minimal barriers to entry, if possible.
It's like we're gonna press the buttons to start recording, and something's gonna happen. That's all I know.
Because I know myself too, where it's like there's gonna come a point where I'm be like, I don't want to fucking organize this do all this extra bullshit. It's like
And this is, I think, a lot of art too is like being able to make something for a certain, like obviously for a certain person, but for like whatever is going on. Like, are you going to make this movie so that people can watch it after they get out of work? Or like certain things where it's like, like this podcast is going to generally be for people that are at work and just have headphones in and just don't want to listen to nothing. Yeah. And it's like, well, now this is actually something. I mean, maybe you could learn something.
And then every once in a while we'll get like a good anecdote or whatever.
Right, exactly.
Podcasts are
you shouldn't be listening
relationship.
To this. Yeah.
Podcast is like, these are people or a person that I want to fucking hang out with every week.
Exactly.
Yes,
you're just like the third guy in the circle or fourth or whatever.
Yeah, this guy came over.
He's chilling
at the house. Yeah, and then that's most of these. This format of podcasting. It's not about. Yeah, it's not about particular subjects or anything. It's just those are my dudes that I.
Yeah. We
were talking
about. If you don't fuck with me,
movies.
get out of here.
We were at Milkie's last week or the week before for the Bills game, we had like an hour and a half conversation.
Yeah.
Just about like, fucking Paul Thomas Anderson. And And it's like, oh, that's just fun to do. And if it's enjoyable to do too. Like if you're in a band or whatever, and then it's like, dude, I don't want to see that bass player's bitch girlfriend. And then it's like, oh, well, now that sucks. Now it's not hanging out anymore.
Right.
Now it's like a fucking job.
It's a
or
job.
whatever. It's like,
or like if you're the person that's doing 95% of the work, and then this person wants to put in like 100% of their opinions. And you're like,
well, you're gonna do that, asshole. You're like, are you gonna fix it? No, great ideas.
I gotta hear about what you think about every single thing when you've literally done nothing.
Yeah. And it's like,
forgive me for not respecting your dumbass opinion.
And me, I'm such a fucking chill dude. I'm like, if you just show up and learn them, I don't fucking care. I'll do all the work. I don't give a shit. I like details. I like anything that just has endless little details I can get lost in, so I don't think about how terrifying every moment of being alive is.
Well, that is the thing. Is it's like art is generally an escape from whatever bullshit you're dealing with, or an expression of that bullshit to like get over it.
Right.
Which is like, I mean, if you're not doing it because you want to do it, then it's just like, what are you doing?
You're just trying to beat. You're like, I think it'd be cool to say I'm a comic. I think it'd be cool to say I'm a bass player. I think it'd be cool to do that.
And you come up against that all the time where people are just literally like, oh, I hate that I have to do this. I'm like, why are you fucking?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like.
And even the greatness thing, where it's like, if you're doing it to be the best at it, it's like, okay, get to be the best at it, and then you're still gonna be miserable. Like, have fun.
You're just gonna keep trying to fill the. If it's not something that you're doing as like an expression of like what your like whatever your existence actually is. You know what I mean? If it's not like just coming out of you naturally. If you're like, you don't want like. Dude, pick a more lucrative thing to clock into. Why are you picking?
Try something else.
That's what so many people are like. When the word famous gets thrown around, all the time, it's so hilarious. And it's like, I see like this is comedy is nothing but heartache for people who are looking. They're looking at what comes out the other end of it. If I do it, I'll get this, and then I'll get this, and I just it's a painful, unhappy way to do it.
So that like ethos, it transcends
any
element of life.
That's what I mean. It was the
if
same
you go
thing.
through life
chef,
just trying to like tally up what you're gonna get out of whatever you're doing, you're missing the point because you should be enjoying what you're doing. Because, dude, we're all gonna at the end of the day we're all gonna be dead. So it's like if you're tallying up like, okay, well, if I'm going to or like if you're gonna do like a 9 to 5, I hate clocking in. Don't come to a fucking dude. Go be an accountant. Pay your mortgage. Like nobody wants to hear that.
Pick a job that makes more money.
Those are the most miserable people to be around.
For sure.
They're fucking buzzkills because they're like you're like. Well, dude, I'm here because I want to be. And you're fucking really harsh in this because it's like it's fun if you let it be. And it's
the letting go of it.
Like
too,
you have to just let go of the outcome.
And
then once you can let go of the outcome, that's like the essence of like any sort of like peace. Because it's like it's never going to be easy. You're always going to have bills to pay.
For sure.
You're always going to have dues to pay. There's always going to be something on the other side.
Someone you love is always going to fuck you over or die. One of the two.
There's no
never good.
Yeah, exactly. There's no final moment where you're going to get there.
No, there's no finish line where you just I did it
until you die. And then it's nothing. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter how many followers you had. It doesn't matter how many people listen to your stupid ass podcast. None of it matters.
Just miserable your whole life until the end, and you're like, you know what, that was pretty cool.
And they don't understand. Right. Oh, I do it to do it.
I
do it because I like it.
And then that is the reward. Because if you're doing something that you like expressly enjoy doing, you don't need to extract anything from it.
Right.
Because you're just a taker at that point.
You're
just like and you're a taker of like just like vibe too. You're like you can like you walk into a room and everybody's like, oh fuck, like
well, you can tell.
You can talk to somebody too. Like and it will even happen with like we're obviously newer comics, but like it will happen like we've been around for a little while and somebody will start and it's like I can see that this person wants to get something out of me. Like I can see like that this person thinks that like, oh, like I can like book them. Like you don't understand. Like I can't do you any favors, but they're looking at me for sure. I don't have any clout. I do not have favors to offer. But they're looking at me. Dude.
Nothing.
They're like a bloodhound trying to sniff around which guy is doing the booking.
They have that hustle thing. And that's what they're
or like they come to the mic, they're like recording like their first like they're like I'm gonna put this on Instagram. Like it's like dude, like that's not it's your first mic. All right?
Yeah, and it's like that's disrespectful. Of like, you really think you're going to be good the first time?
Yeah, it's like you don't understand, but it's because they're all about like, oh, dude, I saw a fucking Matt Rife clip.
Yeah,
and now I'm like, first of all, dude, like he's not like
there's so many things
wrong with being inspired by him. Dude, like, he's like, oh yeah, what comedians inspire you? They're like, Matt Rife, like, that late night host now or whatever, that girl who like got big on fucking Real, like, like, dude, okay, like that. Like,
it's so funny too.
I just already know you're in there for the wrong reason.
Well, going to an open mic too to be like, I'm gonna just try some crowd work and just fucking figure it out. It's like, all those 3 people that are in the audience that don't want to talk to you, they don't even want to hear anyone.
You don't understand. A crowd is a rare thing. But that really does apply to anything though. It's true of like in like the film scene that we were in, or like like in the music scene where it's like, dude, there are like some really like sycophantic people, and you're like, you are the most miserable person to talk to.
Oh yeah, dude, I've done weddings, filming weddings. It's a mess. Everyone there hates their job, hates their life, and it's just like, why are you doing this? Go because it pays well. Yeah, and it's like, well, that's cool. I'm gonna not do this anymore.
It's literally like every conversation you're having with like fucking Patrick Bateman. Like,
it's legitimately.
You're like, dude, there's nothing behind those eyes.
You know what's funny too is because we were talking about the serial killer thing, and there's they
love what they do.
There's the two kinds of killers. There's the process killer and the product killer.
Right.
So like the process killer loves the killing part.
Yeah.
And the product killer just wants the body at the end.
Right.
Like Dahmer did not really like killing. He just wanted the end result.
Yeah. Right.
I'm a process killer.
Yes. Exactly.
I enjoyed the process.
Right. Yeah.
The
and those are the happier
be here and
now.
Yes.
Those are the charming serial killers, dude.
That's who I would trade places with,
dude. It's just so nuts, man.
I mean, he was very unethical, but he was
doing
happy.
it. Yeah, he loves doing it.
Exactly. You never work a day in your life, you know?
Bundy liked to fuck ahead after he cut it off.
Yeah, dude. Shit, man.
I mean, hey, I'm not going to yuck his yum, you know what I mean? That dude.
No, I think those are some yums you can yuck, dude.
You can...
Yeah, some of his yums
some of that shit was gross.
We don't even talk about, like, you never, even in the docs and stuff, they don't really, you got to dig hard to find out how really fucked he really was.
Well, because you probably can't
some of the grossest
do
shit
that
ever.
explicitly.
Well, dude, and like when you're just like alone in the 70s, it's like nobody's going to cancel you on Twitter, dude. Like,
It's a low bar.
Yeah.
Oh, man, now I want to see what Ted Bundy's Twitter would have been.
It would have been hilarious, dude. It would have been so egotistical about it.
God,
he would have just been hitting everybody with like, actually, the technical term is pheebophile.
He would have voted for Trump, first of all. He was he was a Republican, you know.
Freedom, dude. He's all about freedom.
Yeah.
That's that guy.
Freedom.
No laws. Fucking, we don't need laws.
Yeah, dude.
But that's not what I want to do. I want to break the laws. If there's no laws, then he might have just been a good guy. That's the thing. He really just got off on like, oh, you told me not to do this. I'm going to do it a bunch of times. He was misunderstood. That's my platform.
There it is.
Ted Bundy was misunderstood.
Dude.
Ted Bundy 2028.
We could have fixed him.
That's what all those girls line about the courtroom were like, oh, I could make him.
When they're like the Night Stalker or whatever.
No, they weren't the right ones.
They're like they're like marrying him in prison.
Dude.
That's weird.
That's in that fucking story. One of the first the sections was like she had to go to every killer, and they had to tell her why she could be sure that they wouldn't kill her. Oh, like what their reasoning, like who had the best.
Please write an essay.
It was like that.
400 words.
That's so nuts, man.
Oh my god, dude! Giving a serial killer homework is crazy.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm just about to. The next chapter is they're doing like art for her.
Oh, right.
I've wrote most of the things out. It's pretty ridiculous.
That's great.
That's funny.
The one guy that's gonna win. Oh, I shouldn't tell that.
No, yeah, wait.
No.
Cut it
off.
Now you built it up.
That's the clip. The clip ends there.
Well, we were talking about like comedy and stuff though, and we talked about your musical. Like, so you said you knew you wanted to do comedy. Like, why? Like, do you know like what was the where was the start into this world?
Well, because I've been absolutely obsessed with stand up my entire life.
Okay.
Every minute, stand up has been an integral part, but because I had such a natural like. I'm a much better musician than I am a comedian.
Oh, really?
And I think I'm a better writer than I'm a comedian too. But I do fine at comedy.
But, shooting from the hip here.
But like I loved it. I've been absolutely obsessed with it my whole life. But I just thought I was born to play music because how easy, like how quickly
it came to you.
You know, like when you around other musicians, and I just saw how quick and easy it came to me.
Yeah.
And so just figured that was what I was supposed to do. And then once it was just very obvious that it wasn't realistic that I could work the way I used to work, you know, it started to be like, well, I got to do something. And I'm funny, like as a human, I have the data. I'm fucking old, you know. I'm gonna be 50 in not very long, and
about 20 years or something, right?
Yeah, about something like that, and or maybe during this podcast, whatever. Yeah. But
this podcast has been going for 19 years.
I have the data to know that I'm.
Jesse's actually only 28.
I am the worst 28 you ever. Oh my god,
you're undercover.
Dude, you'd be like, why are you out of the hospital now? Get back in there.
Yeah, you need to be studied. There's something going on, dude.
This fucking Benjamin Button disease.
But sorry.
But no, I had the data of my whole life.
Yeah.
That I knew I was funny, you know, and I've always fucked above my weight class because I'm funny and stuff like that. So like,
man, that's some big ladies, dude.
I knew it was kind of
an
option.
Some large women.
I think I only had sex with one large woman in my whole life.
Props.
But yeah, I was the one. Every girl I have fucked in my life is doing me a favor, but
that's funny. But it is like you do need like an outlet.
Yeah, well, it's like so like what am I gonna do now? And I fucked around with writing and stuff, but I was used to performing in front of people,
right?
And so it started to form in my head. But then I was like I said, I was like, I'm not built to just go do a couple of mics and then wait 4 months. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'll go fucking crazy. Yeah. I have to beat myself to death with art. You know what I mean? That's just how I'm wired. So we started plotting, and as soon as I moved there for my son, and then he became old enough where he was grown, and he moved to Denver. And I was like, I don't have to live here anymore.
Yeah, there you go.
So then you're good. We started looking around, but Rachel's sister, Rachel's from here. I was from Philly. She was from here. We met in New Mexico, like everyone does.
Interesting, yeah.
And
tales old as time.
Yeah. I think that's the plot to Before Sunrise. Don't
watch the rest of the movies. It works out. Everything's good.
But yeah. So once we decided that, and that was the whole thing. I was like, wherever we move, it's got to be a place where I can do stand up.
Yeah,
and I'm going to do stand up. I'm going to start doing stand up.
So you were moving based on the idea of doing that? Like, so did you already know about any sort of comedy here?
From the minute that I knew that I just wasn't going to be able to make music productively anymore, it came about pretty quickly where I was like, okay, well, I've been obsessed with stand up my whole life. Yeah. I've been in my whole life. I think about all the times in, even high school where I'd be in a room full of 20 people and I'd be standing up and everyone would be watching me and laughing me, and I basically was doing it my whole life.
Right.
I'm
holding court.
Yeah, I've been obnoxious forever. Right. So,
same.
Yeah, it seemed worth pursuing, and then it was pretty obvious to me that I was built for it pretty quickly. Once I started doing it, I was like, no, I have all the things, and also being around comics made so much more sense to me. I finally fit in, even with musicians. Like, there's an amount of preciousness that you have to make good music, I think, but I could separate that from my regular personality,
right? Yeah.
Where so many musicians, they're just too serious for me.
Yeah,
they're just too
very
self-important for me. That not enough of a sense of humor about themselves.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. Or
like a lack of awareness. Just like who they come off as versus like
and
what
just
they think they are.
Generally,
the cognitive dissonance between who they actually are.
Yeah.
And like they could be a good musician, but you're not that guy.
Yeah,
and you think you're that guy.
Yeah, you can't go around acting like Lou Reed. You work at KFC. You know what I mean?
No, come on, chill.
Pretty much.
Well, dude, we know a lot of musicians, so like we know the archetype. It's there's a few of them in Buffalo. We don't say who.
I'm sure.
But then, so you say you were like obsessed with stand up, like always.
Like,
is there like a first experience, original like
inspiration?
Well,
it started with my horrible monster of a stepfather. That was his one good thing. It was like Pryor and
he would
Carlin.
try bits on you.
No. Well, punches. That counts, right?
Hits.
He was a terrible.
He was a killer, dude.
But
Carlin and Pryor.
But yeah, he was like.
It's true. That's how
it was like I was raised on Carlin and Pryor and Monty Python.
Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So like I had it, and you know what's funny? Just maybe in the last couple of years of seeing the Python influence, because Python was like half biting social satire and half complete nonsense.
Oh, it's silly.
And then I
see
see how much of that's in my stand-up, and I didn't make that connection for so long, and I'm that's...
They do have some of the funniest, like the dumbest bits of the coconuts.
Yeah,
and then like
Holy Grail from
scene,
beginning to end.
He's doing like
perfect.
a whole like Marxist explanation. It's like, oh, this is like
I thought we were an autonomous collective.
They're like trying to like figure it out. It's so funny.
Yeah.
So
so it was that, and then I used to watch stand up. I mean, when it was like on regular TV late at night, they would have the things, and then when Comedy Central came around, and it was just always on Premium Blend.
Comedy
all
Central
shit.
blew it up.
And then it was like, and then that's when it was like Patton Oswalt and Patrice O'Neill, and those guys, and then in 2005, right. It was not long before I did my back, but I was in a long distance relationship with a girl from Philly, and I was going to Albuquerque. No. This was the time when I was driving to Philly. I was going to Miami to go to the Winter Music Conference and see Rabbit in the Moon and shit, and then from there I was going to Philly, and I was going to pick her up and bring her. I brought 2 different girls from Philly to New Mexico because I'm a piece of shit.
Good numbers.
And
you're a good seller.
Jesse's that guy.
So I went to Miami and visited my friends there. I went to the Winter Music Conference and all that. And then as I was driving I was listening to I borrowed my mom's XM radio for the drive, and they had a comedy station, and Doug Stanhope was on there promoting like something, and he told us the story about when he got rolled. Him and his friend got rolled by a transsexual prostitute.
Yeah. Oh, that is such a good. Oh my god.
And I was like, holy shit! So I stopped at a fucking media play in some bumfuck town in Virginia, and I got Deadbeat Hero.
Yep. Oh shit! Yeah.
Is that what's like around that time or like an early?
Yeah. It was that story came out like on the album before.
Okay.
And he was like, it was his new one, and he was promoting it.
Oh, that was on the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went and found that motherfucker in a record store. And started listening to that, and then that was when I was like, "Oh, this is like I actually want to do this."
Yeah.
I was like, you brought up Comedy Central, and like one of my first memories was seeing Doug Stanhope on Comedy Central.
No shit.
Yeah. When I was like a kid, like so I probably shouldn't have been. But,
yeah.
But like I was like, oh, that's fucking hilarious. Like he was like one of the first ones that I was like listening to.
Yeah,
and then like Louis was really big. I feel like when I was growing up.
Yeah, for me, Louis was like maybe 2 years after that, or 3 maybe. But I remember because one of my first Comedy Central things was the Patrice half hour.
Oh, the Patrice half hour was great.
Where he talked about how the he was sucking so like. He always had to get receipts so people knew where he was at certain times because he was afraid he was going to drink a Coke and then like throw it over a bush and there'd be a dead white girl in there. And then he'd be the fucking Coca-Cola rapist or whatever.
Did he do his one bit with there's like one bit where he's like, I'm only having sex so I have something to jerk off to later.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite. He's like, I'm not even that into this, dude. I'm just doing it for the memory.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
God.
For now, that's like my... Patrice and Stanhope are like at the top of my...
Yeah.
I really can't pick between the two, but Patton Oswalt was huge for me. Those first few, 3 or 4 records. I mean, I guess a lot of guys like Kyle Kinane I discovered like right when I started comedy. So but he's huge for me.
That dude has never put out anything bad.
He was just here last week.
I saw him.
Right? You saw him? Yeah. Was he good?
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He's a clinic, dude. He's just
and then he was Comedy Central for a while.
Yeah,
he was the
voice. On The Wire, they say natural police.
Yeah.
When you see Kinane, you're just like, oh, natural comedian.
Yeah, for sure.
He's meant to talk this way.
100%.
Oh, for sure.
So you guys have much better influences. I can only remember Harmful of Swallow, the Dane Cook thing.
Oh, yes.
And that whole BK Lounge era.
The BK Lounge was really big when I was in like
I love that
grade.
shit, dude.
Yeah.
comedy is for like third graders for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm older than you guys, so like, yeah, he missed me. I wasn't. I wasn't a huge fan, but I remember liking Rogan.
Yeah.
Not like he wasn't my favorite or anything, but like I had his first 2 albums, and that's when he was like, I know I'm a dumb jock, but I think about big stuff. But he was very hippy dippy.
Yeah.
He was not. What he
was
now.
like a weed smoking.
Yeah.
He was like a very
and like
weird
open your mind
and
they even did a thing back in the day, like early on his podcast, like his views were liberal.
Mm-hmm.
He endorsed Bernie Sanders.
It's crazy, yeah.
Huh?
He endorsed Bernie Sanders in 2016. Yeah. I mean, that was before the Spotify deal, but he was still rich then.
Yeah, he was rich, but not
giga rich.
Yeah, and the same thing with Chappelle.
Yeah,
I used to listen to Chappelle on social issues.
It was Chappelle and Dan Cook.
Chappelle's got like he's always going to be one of the funniest people ever.
Oh, 100%.
But like his like most recent stuff has been he's like a single issue guy now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like you
just be funny.
You care more about this than like anybody else.
And what this was trans people.
Yeah, that's
what the fuck do you care so much?
Doesn't fucking matter.
How does this affect
35 minutes. I watch it. 35 minutes.
Crazy.
Yeah, on how gender.
And how it's fucking weird.
And that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
There's no like unique...
And when he lost me was so like in the arguments of all that. So like he was doing like they were interviewing him and it's like and there was like this trans activist wants you to answer whatever, and he was like, I don't have to answer shit. I'm fucking Dave Chappelle, and I was like, I'm done.
That's it.
But it's and it is like a thing where it's like, okay, well then just stop talking about it.
And
it's like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Sure, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But it's like nobody like if it's gonna be like this. Oh, this is my issue. This is the one thing I'm gonna talk about forever.
Yeah.
People are gonna ask about it
For sure.
Yeah,
that's like your thing.
Yeah, and why? Why is it your thing?
But it's funny to make it your thing and then also be like, I don't got to answer shit for anybody. And it's like, but that's all you talk about.
Yeah.
What else do you want us to talk about?
There was this like Jesselnick clip from a podcast where he's like talking about like, okay, like new comedians, they like want people to get mad, but they don't want to ever like, they just want to say like, oh, I'm a comedian, I can say whatever I want.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I don't think that's true. He's like, I think that, like, I forget, like, he was, like, quoting Warhol or something. He's like, oh, art is getting away with it.
Yeah.
So it's like you, like,
I saw
like,
that
so,
clip.
yeah, right. And it's, like, such a good clip. It really is. It's like, okay, like, and we see that with, like, new people who show up. And then it's, like, their whole premise is, I'm just going to go up there and say, like, hard R.
Yeah.
Or, like, and it's like, no, that's not the joke. That's not a joke. It's, like, shock stuff. And it's, like, it's not funny. There's
the whole city of Austin right now.
For real.
100%.
Yeah, and it really is that.
Shout
it's
out
like,
Tony.
you're just saying F slur or like hard R'ing,
Right.
just for like and it's like don't cancel me.
Yeah.
And then people be like that too. It's like Whitney Cummings in her special had like a bit and like nobody reacted and she goes calm down.
Yeah.
And
it's written into the bit.
Written into the bit because it's like you're setting up. It's like that is not, you're not really engaging with the art anymore because you're just trying to like, you're like poking, and then if they're mad, they're like free speech. Like
Well, I always the interesting thing of like they'll say some shit, and then they'll say free speech. Free speech means you can say it without going to jail. It doesn't mean that everyone has to like it.
Exactly.
And they act like...
Or like you.
Yeah. When you say some shit, and then a person doesn't like it, and says they don't fucking like it, that's free speech too. It's just as much free speech
it's the counterpunch.
Dude, nobody's obliged to laugh at your shitty racist comedy.
Yes. Yeah, no.
Like, if it's not like... Dude, and you can literally do... like edgy shit, and people will laugh if it's funny. I feel like people think that everybody's like a bleeding heart. Like, I don't think that really exists in the same way that it used to. Like I don't know if it's like the the fucking like Gen X like liberals are like different, like more concerned with like identity shit.
Yeah, right.
But like I feel like, and this is something that happened with like people like thought like if you're being like the left used to be like crass. You know what I mean? There's like the boundaries, but now there's like this concept of like purity of like language.
Yeah, like you're just supposed to be the perfect person that knows where not to step and do all these things.
But it's a straw man.
A lot of that, exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of that is fucking
100%.
It's Republican messaging or whatever you want to say, and it's like
it's subterfuge.
So there's like this idea. There's like this false like liberal idea. I'm not being very clear. I'm not saying that. Like, I'm saying there's an idea of liberals.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like maybe maybe it was like true at one point.
Well, or it could describe certain people.
Yeah, right. Yes, like a specific person or whatever. But that's like the ultimate point that I'm making.
Like the straw man arguments is one of the worst things.
Because it's like you're like no, but like Republicans will be like, oh, don't get offended. It's like no, we just don't like you.
Yeah,
we just don't want to be around you. You're annoying.
Or they'll make up these scenarios of like the left did this and this and that so that they can make this comment. But that shit never happened. No, it never actually did. It made it up.
And it was like everybody, like in the wake of the election, everybody's like, Kamala needs to get away from the woke left. Dude, she did not campaign on anything woke at all.
Dude,
it's quite the opposite.
It's a complete. She's fucking terrible.
It's a wicker man.
Oh, you mean the cop?
It's like,
the cop needs to be a little bit more woke.
It's something that doesn't
Private
exist.
prisons?
They hate her. Half of their business thing is they hate her.
They literally just made up an enemy. Yes. And everybody hates the enemy because everybody thinks it's like a woke scold.
Yeah.
But there's nobody who's really like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, so there's like this idea of a liberal that's completely made up.
Yeah.
And it's like, those comedians who are like, oh, you liberal pussy.
Yeah.
And it's like they just said it so many times that it's like the enemy now exists.
And the word woke is more oppressive of free speech than anything that woke people say.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Woke is a way to shut down an argument.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, you're just being
you're being woke, and now anything you say,
that's...
they can just frame it in that fucking...
And now nobody has to listen to this pussy.
Yes.
To use that to feel morally superior to whoever you're talking to is just
so
like
ironic.
Insane.
It's so ironic
it's
that,
like the mental gymnastics that have to happen.
And they're such pussies. If you ever put on it,
every
like,
time.
any of these like righty comics are like, oh, what? Like I'm not racist. It's like, okay, well then you said some racist shit. Like, why'd you do that?
Because they don't actually have any thoughts about it. It's just a...
they're pushing a button.
They're like shock jocking. It's like they're like just trying to be like,
Yeah, there's no ethic or anything behind what they're saying. They're just
100%.
They just want to be like Anthony Cumia or some shit.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and
he's actually racist.
Yeah, that's
he's actually extraordinary.
Yeah. But like, not a great Twitter follow. Not a great Twitter follow. But no, my thing is like I would much rather watch a shitty comic than a shitty racist comic.
Yeah.
So it's like that's what I think they're trying to use, that sort of rhetoric or like, energy about them to like not have to be actually good at what they do.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, all right, I could just do this. It's like the easy out. Which will just make me hate you more.
It's an excuse to not be self-reflexive.
Yeah.
Or self-aware.
Yeah.
Because you can just be like, it's not me, it's you guys.
It's
never me.
Always, I'm surrounded by pussies
just jokes.
who like don't understand my stuff. It's like, no, we understand it. It's not funny.
And
you're just going up there to say slurs. Like that's not a...
No.
Yeah, and also... Like,
and yell at the audience.
The population is more than half of the people support Trump.
Right.
So most of the people are on your side.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're eating your dick, it's you.
It's right. 100%.
Especially in like a Rust Belt area like this. It's like, dude, the fact that you're doing bad is not because you're surrounded by liberal pussies.
Yeah, right.
Like,
100%.
That's not the way it is, dude.
Did you see the voting map in New York State? I think you're in the right place.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
It's
pretty fucking rough.
Because it is like, it's like, I don't know the politics of a lot of people. I'm probably far further left than like a good amount of the comics.
I'm probably the leftiest person.
Yeah, I'm I'm up there.
Oh, you mean the guy that likes Bjork? That guy's left? That's crazy.
But
don't get that.
But I do
feel one thing I will fight about, by the way. So be careful with.
I'm kidding.
But it is like I feel like there's comics who will like roll into Milkies and they think they're in like fucking Bushwick or something.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like you're not gonna. Nobody cares if you're gonna say like whatever. It's like you're not in like the epicenter of like liberalism. Like
no. Have a good joke.
And
it'll be fine.
Like maybe I won't like you if you're gonna just go up there and hard, and maybe you are gonna get like kicked off stage.
Yeah.
You're saying racial slurs, but that's because we're not racist. But we're not exactly like like leftoids or whatever.
No.
I know what I am. I can't speak for everybody's politics.
I have said some crazy shit over the like. I am not like in the safe zone. You know what I mean? But I'm just not a racist or a homophobe.
Yeah.
So I don't say those things.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's why we like you. I think that's a big thing.
And it's also just not, it's just not funny.
No,
you can make a joke about like being gay that is funny.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
The fact that you can't do it is because you're homophobic.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
If you're treating them as like a lesser class and like punching down or whatever.
The fact that they're gay is not a punchline. That's
exactly.
what it is.
That's what it is. But that's what I mean. So they can only say like, the joke is, you're gay.
Yeah.
It's never like, oh, funny thing about being gay is this.
Yeah,
they're like gay comics who are funny.
Those fucking jokes work.
Oh,
when people have a good joke, my gay friend, or you know that gay people do this, and it's a good fucking joke, and it's not hate. We can tell the difference between a joke and hate.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's like, not to fucking bring up some weird shit, but that like funny people interview thing with like Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, all the dudes, where it's like, I always think about that, like the dodging laser beams thing, where it's like, that's probably the truest thing that was in that whole fucking thing. Because it's like,
honestly, do you remember
bunch of bullshit, but that little bit was like, okay,
Seinfeld is such a tool, dude.
Yeah. Oh, he even came back and he said, I was wrong about the left ruining comedy.
It's insane.
Okay, well that's good because he said that, and then it's like that's never happened.
Never.
He just wasn't funny.
Yeah,
like what?
Correct.
Oh, like your observations about airplane food were ruined by woke culture.
The ones that we've not only heard 1,000 times but have seen made in the Seinfeld sketches.
Right.
Like,
well, dude, I love the conspiracy theory that Larry David just thought that Jerry Seinfeld wasn't funny. So that's why he made Seinfeld about
shit.
it.
I haven't heard that.
It's like a bat. Like Larry David thought it'd be like an ironic thing. So they don't seem like they're friends at all.
Yeah.
And honestly, George Costanza's whole thing is like, you fucking suck, dude. That's like,
and
he's telling him.
He sucks.
It's not funny. He does suck. Yeah.
Oh, it's really boring.
And it's just so weird to have him. Like, so it's like, okay, like Chappelle. Obviously, he's wrong, but he does like engage with like more racy material. Like his whole career. He's always been like a more.
He used to be a guy you could. I mean, as far as on the subject of race, he was a guy you wanted to hear his fucking opinion,
right? Dude, because he was intelligent about it. Yeah, but then
the racial draft, in my mind, one of the greatest sketches of all time.
But what is fucking?
What is fucking awesome?
What is Seinfeld's? Seinfeld's never had a dark bit.
No.
He's never had anything. He's essentially clean, as far as I'm aware. I don't know that he's like. I know that he like in like interviews or stuff. You might let it slip, but as far as I know, he's a clean comic. Yeah. Nobody's like, oh, dude, Jerry Seinfeld said the F slur on stage. He's cancel him. Yeah. No, it's like you're just not funny. Nobody's uncomfortable with your wacky observational humor about your rich, unrelatable life.
And also to act like, quote unquote, woke liberal, whatever, is a more powerful censorship force than religion.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nuts.
It's crazy.
Insane.
It's crazy,
dude.
That has always been the biggest form of censorship in any.
Oh dude. Yeah, like fucking, you know.
Religious right is
that's. I mean, at a certain point, like you can fucking in certain borders of this world, it's just like, all right, you're fucking dead because you just said that.
Well, and then that's because of religion. Thing too, dude. Here's the other thing too, where it's like, who are the comics who've actually gone to jail for saying shit on stage? It's like fucking Lenny Bruce. Who was in charge at the time? It was not the woke left.
It was not the
woke. People couldn't even vote.
Yeah, you're crazy.
They were throwing comics in jail.
100%.
Dude, Tony Hinchcliffe will never see a day of jail time in his life.
No.
Also, dude, he's hack.
Yeah, 100%.
Always thought he sucked.
He's not funny. And then it is like the thing where it is like, they're making up this enemy that doesn't fucking exist. And the thing that is happening is people are expressing the free speech that they're not being funny. Right. Like, and then it's like, oh, you're reacting the wrong way. It's like, dude, I feel like as like any type of performer, it's like if you're going out and being like, fuck the audience, they don't know what they're talking about. It's like, well, what are you doing? Get to hang out in your room.
Right. Like, go make music and be cynical.
Or the idea that like that you don't have to like go with society. Society has to go with you.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's this
like
weird
I'm
thing.
Right.
It's like I think when people get old, like as old as I am, I don't come off as an old dude, and I'm not like the guy who's trying to act cool and yuck lung, and I don't hit on young girls.
No,
but
I haven't seen it.
As the world is moving, I stay with the movement. Yeah. Because when you see people get old when they plant their flag on the shore, like if you're on a river, you know, the world continues to fucking change, and you can either, but the minute you go like, okay, I don't know all of this, it was the minute you go like, it was better back then.
Yeah,
you plant your that's it. Then you get old.
Because usually you're wrong.
Yeah.
Also. Yeah. Usually you're just wrong about that.
Yeah. Like social progress is a good thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Crazy take here.
Yeah,
You're sounding like a woke libtard.
I know. Yeah. I came with my libtard stuff today.
It is crazy though how much like. Then this is sort of political, but sort of not. What? I can't wear red hats anymore. That sucks.
I know.
I want to wear
you're repping a set.
A baseball team or something like. This fucking sucks.
Yeah,
that is funny, dude.
I mean, what the fuck are you gonna do? just figure some shit out. But we might be wrapped up.
I think we might be at time there. That might be a way to go.
Hour 27. Wow, look at this.
That's talking.
Pretty good. We did be talking.
We did a whole set.
No, that was good. That was good.
Playing the bird.
Jesse, if you have anything that you would like to plug.
Substack, The Bystander. That's the only thing I ever wanted to plug in my whole life.
Perfect.
Hell yeah.
If you're in the tri-state area, you can probably find me doing sets. Especially if it's some weird fucking town you never heard of. I'm probably doing 40 there.
Yeah.
So check that.
Check him out in Callicoon.
Yeah, baby. Oh, I crushed for those people.
Dude, our Leroy audience is crazy.
Fucking A. I probably... Oh,
yeah,
man.
dude. Yeah, we're taking a road trip to Ithaca.
Yeah.
Dude. Shout out Jordan Jensen. Jordan Jensen's great.
You know what's funny?
My
first time ever in the Helium green room, she was there.
Oh,
she
really?
was around here for a minute.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, dude, that's crazy.
I met her like my first couple of times.
She'll like come up on like people you may know on Facebook for me, and I have mutual. I'm like, oh, that's fucking wild.
I doubt she would remember me because I was so new, and she was like she was funny.
Yeah.
and I was new.
Yeah.
But she was cool. I mean, we chatted in the green room, and I did a few, sets with her and stuff. But
nice.
Like I said, I was so new. I don't. Right. But she's super cool, and she's fucking killing it now. God bless her.
Yeah,
100%.
Well, all right. Well, check out the Substack. We'll put that in the description or like on our Instagram.
Check out Jordan Jensen. Check
out Jordan Jensen. Yeah. She needs our little bump here.
Yeah, buddy.
Check out Jordan.
You're
Jensen.
welcome, Jordan. We'll be expecting residuals.
Comics of equal stature: Jesse Winterhalter and Jordan Jensen.
There you go.
Check them both out.
They're basically the same.
Yeah. Follow him
also,
on Instagram.
Milkie's. Go to Milkie's
on
Wednesday.
Go to Milkie's open mic.
Go to Milkie's every day you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also Wednesdays is
see you
chopped
there.
cheese is banging.
Oh yeah, dude, the chopped cheese.
We're actually going to Milkie's after this.
Yeah, we're gonna go get some chopped cheese, dude.
Get some chopped cheese.
And then, anyways, like and subscribe to our shit.
If you want.
Didn't do the bird of the week thing. I forgot to do that.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine.
I think we just shelve it for next week.
We'll do double bird of the week next week.
Yeah, we'll do that with
birds of the week.
Yeah,
or do you actually?
It's a stupid segment.
This would be fun, Jesse. Do you have a bird that you want to?
I'm obsessed with the talking birds right now. It's like all over my feed. The parrots and the ones that talk like people.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of it. It's so fucking weird.
Okay, so parrot will be on the docket for next week, and then we'll come up with a bird, and then they vote on it.
Oh, okay.
It's a stupid segment.
Yeah, I love it, dude.
Yeah.
Talking birds, get one.
Yeah, 100. You better.
There we go. We'll do that.
This is a talking bird podcast. You're one of the birds now.
I'm a talking bird.
We'll do that all next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Jesse, for being here, and have a good night, everybody. Like and subscribe and all that bullshit.
Enjoy your life. Quit your job.